everyone, and welcome back to The Rewind, the place where nostalgia is happiness revisited. And today we'll be looking at Pokémon. We're going to be leaning into the brand, see where it came from, where it is in its current state. We'll be talking about the video games a little bit, and then the hobby of collecting Pokémon cards. I'll also show you some of my cards, and yeah, just have a nice discussion about the Pokémon brand. Alright, so let's get into it. If you were alive during the late 90s and had the ability to tie your own shoelaces, then the chances are you remember the madness that was Pokémon. Created by Satoshi Tajiri, the first iteration of Pokémon, inspired by bug collecting, came in the form of a role-playing game for the Game Boy in 1996, with the release of Pokémon Green and Red. The concept was simple: explore the world, battle and catch the creatures, train them and battle opponents, with the slogan, "Gotta catch 'em all." Introduced to the West in 1998, the media expanded to an animated TV series and a trading card game. Commercially, the company killed it, and Pokémon became a global phenomenon. Its popularity is a mainstay, and the brand is as recognizable as Coca-Cola. Pokémon's journey is a remarkable one. From a small pixelated RPG to a multi-billion-dollar IP, grossing around $100 billion since conception, outselling Disney's Marvel and Star Wars combined, making Pokémon the biggest media franchise on the planet. Now, from its creation, Pokémon has been synonymous with Nintendo, creating a game on every single system, from the Pokémon Red on the Game Boy right up to Arceus on the Switch. Reviews are mixed, and it seems like it mostly depends on what you are after as a Pokémon fan inside the gaming space. Nintendo's Pokémon games are very expensive, and the thing is that I found is it's better to purchase them now, because in the future they will most likely only increase in value. You don't find a lot of Pokémon titles on the second-hand market just because it's being absorbed into collectors' collections. And here's the thing about Pokémon: anything with the Pokémon label, if it's legit, is collectible. Now, another thing we have to talk about is obviously Pokémon Go. It was released in 2016 on the 20-year anniversary of Pokémon. Now, another thing we have to talk about is Pokémon Go. It was released in 2016 with the 20-year anniversary of Pokémon. The AR technology was revolutionary, and using the actual environment around you to play Pokémon was amazing. But unfortunately, the game got a little bit boring. Alright guys, here's going to talk a little bit about the TCG, the collector's cards on the Pokemon cards. My knowledge on this is pretty much limited. So this is there's obviously a lot of bigger collectors that know a lot more than I do. So just keep that in mind. This is just my humble opinion on the local market, the South African market. It might apply to different markets out there, different countries, but for the most part, this is just our local kind of our local market. So yeah, Pokemon collecting is kind of a niche market at the moment. Well, it's always been like that for quite a while. A very niche market. Now, first thing I have to say about the Pokemon cards: if you buy Pokemon cards, it needs to come in a blister pack. There's a lot of fake cards out there, and I know a lot of the kids, they buy Pokemon cards from like a China mall in those little cardboard boxes. Those are not legit Pokemon cards. If you buy Pokemon cards, they need to be from a legit registered retailer, and then yeah, they need to come in a blister pack. There's a lot of fake cards out there. It's sometimes very hard to tell. Even I have been the victim of buying fake cards, unfortunately, and you know, that's pretty much how you learn. Once you've held a legit Pokemon card in your hand, then you pretty much know. And if there's any doubt, usually just take a flashlight and just shine it through it. If the light comes through, then it's most likely a fake card. If it doesn't, then yeah, it's probably most likely a legit card. All right, so this just to put everything into context regarding my collection, it's a very small collection. Like I've mentioned before, I like to keep the collection small because there's different kinds, and I'd like to spend, you know, enough time and money on different collections to sort of not focus on one. I tend to get really obsessed about collections, and then I end up costing myself a lot of money. So this is just a way to keep myself in check. Right, so like I said, grew up in a very small town, so we never experienced the Pokemon card hype. I don't know if the product never arrived there or we just totally missed it. So the first time I actually held a Pokemon card was in 2020. By the end of 2019, I started looking into the hobby. I like to do research on hobbies, see what the markets are like, the availability of the product and all of that. And I really started getting into it, doing all the research, and I thought, okay, can I still find these 20-year-old, 25-year-old cards? And it turned out, I could find them at that stage, and I was actually very lucky. But unfortunately, just as I was completing most of my collection, the market sort of went crazy with the COVID thing, and it's been. I've sort of put this hobby on the back burner. It's just the cards I need are still very expensive, so I'm just going to wait a little bit. You can still get them from a shop like eBay. You can buy singles off there. All right, so this is pretty much just my reverse holo card collection. I pretty much just started collecting these. It's from the Evolution set. And this was like a subset with all the holos. Now I like the very old Pokemon, the original 151. So I'm always going after cards that represent the older prints. So regarding the Pokemon sets, there are so many sets out there. Obviously the newer ones, I think there's about 4. They launch about 4 a year. And it's pretty much a mixed bag at this point, because there's so many cards in the collections that you need to collect, and it's about $100 for a blister pack containing about 10 cards. So if you're looking at a set that's close to 250 cards to complete the set, and not even taking into consideration the chase cards, which are cards that are printed in the set that are quite limited and very hard to find. So usually what I would do is I'll check out the cards in the set, and then get sort of a idea of what the pull rates are on the sets, just to pretty much see what the likelihood is of getting good cards. Now my experience, it's too much money for me to buy a blister pack for an if, but, or maybe. So if there are cards that I would like to get, then it's better to go into the second-hand market. Guys who sell the singles, you're more than likely to get those cards from those guys. It's a much cheaper option if you know exactly what you want. Now on these reverse holos, just a little bit mentioned, these two cards have actually gone up in price. The reverse holos weren't very popular when it came out. I had a lot of dealers just give them away at some stage, but I thought I'd keep them. They're pretty nice. I like the reverse shine on the cards. So these two have pretty much gone up in price lately, so that was quite surprising to see that. All right, so I'm just gonna show you a little bit of my personal collection. The thing is, it's important to have like a collection goal and stick to that, because you'll come across cards that you really like, and then the collection just expands. So it's good to have like a proper plan on what you want to collect. So my initial plan was to collect all 151 of the original cards. So they're spread out in the first sets, like base set, jungle, and fossil. So these cards are pretty much an accumulation of all that. I've got some rocket cards in here from the rocket set, and some from evolutions as well. This will probably be considered sacrilege by collectors, because I've pretty much broken up 3 sets to get my collection. But it's each to its own. It's your collection, so you need to go after the cards that you want. I've pretty much just I don't care for the trainer cards, so that's pretty much just why I collected the cards with the Pokemon on them. Alright, so Your Bulbasaur, you got Ivysaur, obviously got a few cards missing here, the most important ones, obviously. Well, like I said, the hobby started picking up, the prices started increasing, so before I could get those cards, the prices were skyrocketed, and I just thought, okay, I'll just stick to this for now, and I'll complete my collection in time. So like I said, I'll still be able to find those cards, I just need to have the money to pay for it, and that's pretty much what this hobby is about. If you have the cash, you can pretty much collect anything you want. So the Charizard, I used to have Evolutions Charizard. I bought it for quite cheap before the whole hype thing happened. Unfortunately, I had to sell it because, ran into some financial difficulties, and luckily I had the card to sell it. Actually sold it for quite a profit, so it really helped me out. Do I miss it? Yes. I will replace it, hopefully. Now, for the Blastoise and the Venusaur, I just haven't collected them yet. It's sort of the price increase and the availability and all that sort of stifled my whole collection goal. But that's pretty much the only cards that I'm missing from this kind of set, or this set that I'm trying to collect. All right, so you see there's a Rattata that comes from the Rocket set. The rest of these all spread out in the base set, and of course the Jungle and Fossil. There's another Team Rocket Dark Arbok. I just put that card in there because it looks so nice. And over here, this Clefairy, it's not from the original sets. This is from the Evolution set. So Clefairy is quite expensive, so I'm just pretty much. This is pretty much a placeholder until I can replace it at some stage. But yeah, it looks nice in the binder. So some of these cards should be hollows. There's alternatives without the hollow prints. I've mostly gotten the hollow, the non-hollows. I've got a hollow there. I've got the Ninetales in a hollow as well. The Venomoth. So it's pretty much just cards that I've come across that I like better than the originals from the sets. Alakazam. It's one of my favorite cards. Got it in the hollow. It's in pretty decent shape. Now when it comes to the value of these cards, now my specific collection isn't very valuable. I've got a few cards that has some value, but you know, it's not a lot. The main thing is about any collector's item, it's about condition. Now these cards came out like 25 years ago. They're not supposed to be in good condition because nobody had the notion of actually preserving these cards to hold any value. And as time went by, they increased in value. And obviously, if you have a card in a very good condition, you can send it off to PSA or PGS to get it graded. Now, pretty much what grading is, it's pretty much it locks in the value of your card. Let's say it's in very good condition, you get a 9. They put the plastic casing around it, and that sort of preserves the condition and the value at that point. So when you're going to resell it, there's a good chance you'll get a pretty decent price for your graded card. People sort of collect graded cards. Obviously PSA 10 is obviously the best that you can have. Then you get your 9, 8, and as the condition worsens, the amount goes down. So it's pretty much what you're looking for as a collector. If you just want the card like me, like most of these cards aren't in the best condition, but you know, they help me complete my set, so I'm good with that. I'll show you now some cards that are in great condition. Alright, so that's something that you have to keep in mind. Another place that I found that I can buy singles is like on eBay. Takes forever to get here, but yeah, it's a pretty good option. If you buy like 10 cards and you have them shipped. Like I say, it takes a while, but you know, it's well worth it. Haven't had any trouble with that. So yeah, like I think this Scyther of mine is really scratched on the hollow. But you know, in the binder it looks fine, but you can see there's a little bit damage on the card. You can also check the back. You'll see like whitening. The edges are a little dented, discolored. You know, those kinds of things. It all plays a factor And especially on the picture, if it's scratched or the card's a little bit bent, anything like that. That Chansey over there, quite an expensive card as well. It's not in the greatest condition, but yeah, it helps me complete the set, so I'm not too phased about the condition of the cards. Just to give you a good example, would probably be, okay, that pencil there, right there. It's not in greatest condition. I think this Gyarados is probably the best example of a card that's probably not in the best shape. Let me just take that out. Alright, so there you can see, I'll just remove it from the sleeve. Alright, so I keep all the cards sleeved just to sort of protect them from damage or any further damage. So you can see already there at the back there, it's in pretty rough shape, but the hollow still looks fine. I mean, like I said, you know, get scratch marks there. So this thing is probably worth like maybe 10, 20 bucks. But it is the original card. You'll see there, the Game Freak 1995, 96, 98 Nintendo. So these are basically like the WotC cards. The Wizards of the Coast, you can see there, 99 Wizards. So Wizards of the Coast is better known for the Magic cards. They still do the Magic cards as far as I know. So they sort of started off the Pokemon card era, and then initially Nintendo took over on that. That Ditto there looks pretty nice. It's not in the worst shape. So yeah, it just kind of depends on what you can get. And yeah, my legendary birds, I've got the Articuno and the Zapdos in a holo. The Moltres is not in a holo. Yeah, once these cards go to holos, they become extremely expensive. So yeah, so I'll just settle with the non-holo. I'm fine with that. I mean, Dragonair, Dragonite's also supposed to be, that's my Mewtwo, also not in the best shape. But yeah, as I told you guys, I'm not really too phased about that. And the Mew card you could only get as a promo card. So I ordered this off eBay, got the promo card. There's also a holo version of that, but this thing costs next to nothing. So I was just like happy to get that. Now these are the trainer cards I was talking about to complete the set. So yeah, basically it's just literally there to help you play the game, to play the TCG. Now, when it comes to the TCG, I never played the training card game. I'm just into the collecting, really. But there are communities out there on Facebook where you can get into contact with people and yeah, maybe hook up with them and play the TCG if you're that way inclined. Also, the same thing with collectors. You know, there's plenty of collectors out there. There's collectors communities out there. So if you want to get started, I would suggest getting into contact with these people and just sort of ask them questions. You know, if you want to get your collection going, it's the nicest people in the hobby, I have to say. You know, the card prices are a little ridiculous at times, but you know, it's to be expected. But it's really a great community, and they really help you out a lot with your collection goals if they are able to. Now this is just, I showed you guys this in the beginning. This is just a jumbo card. There's a few of them that comes out on the sets, with the sets, specific products. They will appear now and again. Yeah, not a big collector of the jumbo cards, but I know some people like them. I really just kind of like it for the you know, it's just like a big Pokemon card, and yeah, it's just something really cool about that. Okay, so now, right, so like I said, I'm not spending too much money in the hobby at the moment. And I also mentioned that I didn't have the privilege of opening the original packs, like the base sets, Jungle and Fossil and all that. But in 2021, I did get in on the action. I really wanted to get an experience of what it's like opening the product. I think I opened about... Alright, so this is basically... I opened about two bits of products before it was completely gone. So this is basically the celebrations. This was on the 25-year anniversary of Pokemon, and they released this amazing set. There was basically a set, and then there was a subset with different cards to collect. The pull rates was really great on this one, so that's why I got into it, just to collect some of the cards. Now, I don't have any of the subset cards anymore. I sold them off. I had like 1 or 2. This was a great set. It was cheap in the beginning. The product was really limited, though. It was insanely limited. And once they disappeared off the market and they came back, it was about double the price. So yeah, it was a great experience. I really pulled some really cool cards from this. I really enjoyed opening the product. But once again, you know, I'll only spend money if it's going to be worth my time. Yeah, so guys, that's just a little bit about the TCG on the Pokemon side. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do drop down in the comments below if you got any questions, or you just like to add a little something. Tell me if you are a Pokemon collector, what does your collection look like? I'd really like to know about that. Yeah, drop down in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Please like and subscribe to the video, and I'll see you guys next week. Cheers.